Hello, everyone out there. Hello, art community. It is your art teacher, Miss Freels, with another fun lesson. The last couple weeks, we've been talking about this STEAM learning and how we can integrate different subjects in order to make our learning more meaningful, in order to make our learning more interesting and make sense to us. Remember STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math? Well, this week I want to introduce you to the King of STEAM. So let's get right to it. Welcome to week 24. Let's meet Leonardo Da Vinci. I'm really excited for you to get to meet Leonardo Da Vinci. So let's start with a quick presentation on this amazing scientist, inventor, engineer, and so many other things. And then we'll get right to our project. I'm excited. Let's go. Leonardo da Vinci was an artist, a scientist, an engineer, and an inventor. He was born over 500 years ago in the year 1452. He was born in Europe, in a country called Italy. Leonardo da Vinci is said to be one of the greatest artists in history. Here are some of his most famous paintings. Most of you will recognize both of these paintings. Yes, that is the Mona Lisa, which Leonardo da Vinci began painting in the year 1503. And the other painting is called The Last Supper, painted in 1495. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just an artist, though. He was also a scientist, an engineer, and an inventor. He was the King of S.T.E.A.M. He kept many journals and sketchbooks full of drawings in pursuit of scientific knowledge and inventions. His journals were filled with over 13,000 pages of his observations of the world. He drew designs of hang gliders, helicopters, war machines, musical instruments, and bridges. He also loved animals and learning about the human body. Leonardo da Vinci was especially interested in the subject of flight. He studied the flight of birds to understand how they were able to fly, and he made many plans for flying machines. The first one here was his version of a helicopter. The one in the middle is called a flying machine. And then the one on the right is called a glider. Could we draw and create a flying machine? Says Miss Freels. Here is our inspiration for the week. This is a drawing by Leonardo da Vinci. He imagined a flying ship and drew a picture of it in his journal. It has the top like a hot air balloon. This is a hot air balloon. With the help of Pilatre de Rosier, a scientist, the Montgolfier brothers launched the first hot air balloon called Aerostat Réveillon on September 19, 1783. The first passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. And the balloon stayed in the air for a grand total of 15 minutes before being pulled back to the ground. Don't worry, humans were the next passengers to try a hot air balloon. Today, we are going to draw our very own flying machine. Later, you can try to create your flying machine using basic materials you could find around your home. Let's get our inventor brains warmed up by asking some simple questions. Remember, this flying machine does not have to be a realistic machine. It can be completely from your imagination. Just like this example over here. This is called the Featherstone Kite, invented by Rowland Emmett over 100 years ago. Here's the questions. If you could fly to anywhere, where would you go? Grandma's house, to Hawaii, to Mexico, to the moon? Using some ideas from modern flying machines, how will your machine fly? For example, take some ideas from helicopters, airplanes, hang gliders, kites, or hot air balloons. And last, what is the name of your invention? I am going to be using my whiteboard today to come up with my flying machine ideas and invention. Then I will draw it onto my paper to add more details and color. I am excited. Let's get started. Now, at the beginning of the lesson, I said all that you really need today is a piece of paper and a pencil or a whiteboard for practicing. However, if you have your crayons, you can see I have my crayon box out. Crayons, I'm going to be using some crayons and I'm going to be using some markers to color in my art in a little bit. Okay, let's go. So, flying machine. I'm going to just be giving you some prompts. I'm going to be giving you some ideas like how to start your flying machine, or maybe give you some kind of inspiration by practicing it on my whiteboard first. Now, we are thinking flying machines. And I'm thinking Leonardo Da Vinci and how he drew so many cool, interesting flying machines. So first we're going to draw a basic kite. Then we're going to draw some basic wings, some different kinds of wings. And then I'm going to teach you how to draw a hot air balloon. And perhaps you will be inspired to use some of those ideas in your flying machine. All right, let's get started. I got my whiteboard marker. I got my whiteboard eraser handy. And we're just going to start by drawing a simple kite. I'm going to go kind of quick, so if you need to rewind it or press pause at any time, feel free. So a kite is basically a diamond shape. And the top of the kite is sort of a smaller sort of triangle than the bottom of the kite. So you're like, what are you talking about, Ms. Freels? So remember when we did our robots last week? Everything is made of shapes. Everything is made of shapes. A kite is made of simple shapes as well. So, for example, I'm going to draw a diamond, but the way I'm going to do it, it's a little bit different. I'm going to start with a basic cross, or like a plus sign. So a long vertical line. And instead of right in the middle, I'm going to move up the horizontal line a little bit to the top. So instead of like a plus sign, it's like a cross. Let me turn off that light. I think that'll be better. There we go. That's a little bit better. So you see how I did that? I didn't put the horizontal line right in the middle. I put it a little bit above, so it looks more like a cross. Now I'm simply going to connect these lines on the top. So check it out. I just made a triangle. And now I'm going to connect this point to the bottom point, and this point to the bottom point. Voila, a diamond. A perfect kite design. Wasn't that easy? And then, of course, a kite has to have some kind of, it's called a tail, and some kind of wind catchers on your kite. Now remember, I'm only just giving you some ideas because as an inventor and as an engineer, you can take basic ideas and then go ahead and take them the extra step. That was easy. Let's draw some different kinds of wings. All right, let's go ahead and draw some simple bird wings that you could attach to any kind of flying machine that you create. Now, I'm going to start with some two curved lines in the middle of my whiteboard. Just watch, okay? It's like a backward C and a forward C, just like so. And now I'm going to curve each line up, sort of like towards the corner, about that long, symmetrical. So whatever you're doing on the one side, if you think of it in symmetry, it's a little bit easier to draw. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a scalloped, sort of a curved line down to meet this point. So just watch me. We'll start it over here. So see how it's almost like a wave, up, down, until you meet that point at the bottom. And I'm going to try to do the same thing on this side. This is why we like to work with whiteboards, because this part you might need to try it a couple of times just to get it right. Now we're just going to add a couple more simple lines. If you're a more experienced artist, please look up how to draw wings. On YouTube, there's a lot of videos and you're going to get a lot more detail. But I like to keep things simple. Even as a professional artist, I like to keep things simple. So I'm going to draw one line up. I just followed the curve of the outer edge. See how I just did that? I just followed that same line on the outside. I followed it on the inside, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now I'm just going to add some little scallopy lines, just like I did on the outside. I'm going to add those on the inside. So watch me. We'll start over here on the right. Like little wavy lines. I'm going to repeat the same pattern underneath. And I'm going to try to also repeat the same pattern on the other side. So those are some very basic, sort of like angel or bird wings. If you wanted to turn them into bat wings, it could be a very similar process. We'll do that kind of the same thing again, where we start with two curved opposite lines in the middle of our whiteboard. And I'm going to take a line up towards the edge of the whiteboard and a line up. Whatever I do on one side, remember, we're going to do on the other side. Now, this sort of scalloped line is going to be really similar to our other one, but a little bit wider spaces. You see how I made them kind of a little bit wider spaces? I'll show you that again on the other side. They have a little bit more space in between them. And a bat is actually, their wings are like their hands, right? So they sort of have these lines. I'm just starting kind of here in the middle. This would be considered the middle, right? And I'm making like 3 or 4 lines that are extending towards these points. I'll show you that on the other side. So I'm making a line that's extending toward this point, a line that's extending toward this point, a line that's extending toward this point. And maybe we'll add just one more here just to keep it symmetrical. So those are also some pretty easy bat wings. Okay, let's draw a simple hot air balloon. I'm sort of inspired by the hot air balloon. I love the lines and the patterns in hot air balloons. I love the colors. And I'm imagining my hot air balloon might be carrying something that's important to me to a place far away that's important to me. I hope as we're drawing these wings and these kites and these hot air balloons, you are getting some inspiration on how you can create your own flying machine. Maybe you just want to draw regular balloons. Maybe you want to try to draw an airplane or a helicopter propeller. There's a lot of ideas you can also find on YouTube, but I'm going to teach you a simple hot air balloon because that's sort of what I'm feeling right now. Now, a hot air balloon isn't necessarily a circle. You could totally start with a circle. It's kind of almost more looks like the shape of a light bulb. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a arch, sort of like a large stretched out rainbow on the top of my paper. I call this a rainbow quite often because usually when we see rainbows, we only see this part of the rainbow. So it's an arch, it's a rainbow. And then right about in this space, I'm just going to draw a little short horizontal line. So sort of like right in the middle and about halfway on my whiteboard, I'm going to draw a short horizontal line. And I'll show you why. Because really what happens is the hot air balloon takes sort of like a curved line to meet that point and a curved line to meet this point. So see how it's more of a shape of like a light bulb. It's more instead of a circle. If you want to start with a circle, that is totally fine. Now I'm going to draw some lines in my in my hot air balloon to sort of make it seem more round and also give it a pattern. So when I transfer this to paper, it'll be so much more fun. So watch, I'm going to draw one line down, right down the middle, straight. As well, it doesn't have to be exactly straight, but you'll get the idea. Kind of straight down the middle like this. And now I'm going to draw a curved line, kind of like when we were doing our pumpkins. I'm going to start at the very top where this line meets the top. Now just watch me, okay? Watch me first. A curved line, and it's going to hit that same little short horizontal line down there. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on this side. Curved line down to that little piece there. I'm not done. Stick with me. Stay with me, friends. I'm going to be drawing some scallop, some curved lines in between these lines, just like when we created our spider webs. See how it's just sort of a curved line? You don't even have to take your marker off. You just keep going, curved line, till you get to the end, the other end of the hot air balloon. We're going to do that 2 more times. A hot air balloon has to have a basket to carry the passengers. Has to have a basket to carry the passengers. And remember, I'm just teaching you how to draw a hot air balloon. I don't know if you're going to be drawing something different than a basket. Maybe you're going to be drawing a house carrying people, or a school, or a car, or a big, huge basket filled with all your friends. That's completely up to you. I just want to teach you how to draw a basic hot air balloon so that you can take these flight ideas and apply them to your own flying invention. Okay, so from right now, just keep it easy. I'm just going to make a little square or rectangle, whatever it happens to be, doesn't really matter. And then the basket is attached to the balloons by a series of ropes. So I'm just going to draw a couple ropes here. And that is an easy peasy hot air balloon. That is all I am going to do for you today. In just a second, you will watch me as my creativity and my imagination go very fast. I'm going to take this hot air balloon idea and come up with something creative that I'm thinking would be super fun. Okay, check it out. Now remember earlier when I asked you some questions to think about before you create your flying machine? Number 1, where would you fly to? I am flying to Hawaii. I'm going to go fly to the Hawaiian Islands on a nice quiet beach. And what kind of modern flying machine would you incorporate in your art? I incorporated a hot air balloon. I also incorporated some wings to help steer better. And I am flying away with my little house, my animals, that's Miss Freels, And I even have an extra place down here where I can go take a nap, and I have some blankets and some pillows, so I can just feel nice and relaxed out in the open air. I can't wait to see what you all come up with, and I cannot wait to see you next time for another fun art lesson. Be creative, be inventive, and I'll see you soon. Stay curious. Bye.